We lost the background music from last time, so bear with me for a moment. There we go. There we go. Okay. So now we're going to do a little quick audio check because we did an update on the audio driver for the microphone. It looks like it got rid of some buzz that we had last time. And then if the audio is good, we'll go ahead and turn it on. Okay, it's loading. It's a phone call. Okay, testing. How do we sound? There's so much more delay than there was last time. Hello, testing. Okay, all right, seems like it's good enough. So welcome to our stream. Let me get our little introduction up and ready. And then we'll get started. Oh, I had it unplugged too long and it went to sleep forever. No. It did go to a deep sleep though. Not ideal. I don't think I need the gloves in here. Looks like I'm wearing a bandana and fingerless gloves, so I'm going to keep the band. Well, it's not really a bandana. It's a hairband type thing. Can't remember what it's actually called. It's solid all the way around. Oh, good. The computer's on. Perfect. Excellent. Wonderful. Truly wonderful. Okay. So. Welcome to our stream, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Kevin, and I represent NeuroUnify and the DFW Autistic Support Group. I tried to weasel that in, but then the next thing doesn't make sense. An organization. I'm representing the DFW Autistic Support Group on behalf of NeuroUnify, which is an organization steadfast in its commitment to the neurodiverse community. Today's stream is more than just a broadcast. It's an honest conversation about the urgent support we need to continue our mission. NeuroUnify is dedicated to reshaping how neurodiverse individuals engage with the world and the workforce. We believe in creating spaces where different abilities are not just accommodated, but celebrated for the value they bring. Our work up until now has laid the groundwork for a model of inclusivity and empowerment that we are eager to expand. I'm here to share not just the vision, but also the reality of our situation. This is a fundraiser, and yes, it's critical. We're raising funds to secure a vehicle for those who can't travel independently. It's to provide a stable housing to maintain the foundation from which I operate from, and to pursue further education in order to be able to grow this initiative and support the group better. But today, our goals are broader as well. We aim to standardize our group model, reach out across Texas. Oh, the group model. We maybe should bring up how we have currently the largest in-person support group for autistic adults in Texas. At least as far as I'm aware, nobody's corrected me yet. What have I done? Okay. But our goals are broader. We aim to standardize our group model, reach out across Texas, and unite with others for a louder voice and advocacy. We want to ensure that when decisions are made about neurodiversity, they're made with our participation, not just about us, but with us leading the dialogue. I come to you as someone who has faced significant challenges, from personal safety to health and housing. I've lived the reality of overcoming adversity time and time again. Now I'm channeling that resilience into NeuroUnify and the support group. Your support today is not just for me, it's for the countless others who look to us for hope and guidance. We're transparent about our needs because we trust in the generosity of our community. Every dollar you donate is a step towards a future where neurodiversity is not just a concept, but a living, thriving aspect of society. So let's get into the heart of our discussion today, knowing that each of us plays a part in the story of change. Let's talk about where we are, where we're going, and how your support can help us get there. Thank you for being here. Your presence is a powerful reminder of the strength that we have together. Now, let's dive in. And so, today, I was thinking it might be worthwhile to talk about chronic pain, how to deal with it. That music is way too loud. Okay, I can hear it from my phone even though I can barely hear my phone. How do we sound now? So quiet. What has changed? Okay. I mean, I updated the driver, but that shouldn't affect the... Oh. I think I know what it might be. Yay, technical stuff. Oh, no, that is set right. Did Windows screw with some stuff? It likes to do that sometimes. Nope. Interessante. Okay. Testing, 1, 2. How does it sound? Buckle my shoe. That seems quiet. My phone's all the way up. Testing, test. Okay, yeah. Suspicious. Okay. Well, we'll adapt. Improvise, adapt, and overcome, right? Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about physical health and ailments. So there's a lot of comorbidities. There's a lot of disorders that people will find out about potentially early on in their life, physical issues or ailments that are difficult to diagnose or, maybe unrelated to... Anyway, point I'm trying to make is there's an overlap between the things that impact your health and well-being when you're neurodivergent, as well as other kind of physical conditions. How do I word this best? There are a lot of times where, when I'm doing research on stuff related to the symptoms that I'm dealing with for, like, the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome stuff, for example, we'll find like 60% of people with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome have been diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, and those kind of overlaps are nuts to me. And one of the main reasons I wanted to focus on chronic pain stuff today is because that's what I'm dealing with. This might be a short stream. It might be a little more chaotic. It might be closer to the way Monday stream was. But seeing as this is a fundraiser and the goal here is to try to create a... Sounds like this. almost was a wreck outside my window. Seeing as the goal is to make sure that we're able to show up consistently, um, regular, regularly. Goodness gracious. Actually, give me a second. Okay, that should be a little better. The cable kept hitting it, and there's no way that's not getting picked up. Oh no, is there an ad? There we go. Okay, so yeah, but that's the the reason that I wanted to talk about chronic pain stuff today is because I'm going through a rough time, but I want to make sure that I'm here showing up every day to showcase how dedicated we are to this mission, how important it is to me to keep this going, to be able to raise the funds to keep the group going. I'm willing to make sacrifices. I'm willing to push myself. Now I'm trying to make sure that I also take care of myself, because another one of the fun conditions that I'm dealing with, and another reason that we're doing fundraising is I have the shortest, fastest way to describe it is basically, if I don't get regular not checkups, what's the word I'm looking for? Maintenance? Sure, regular maintenance done on my colon, I'm getting cancer, basically. And so there's like 10 grand or so just for that. But so what I mean to bring that up for is it's one of the things impacting my health and my ability to focus. And also it's one of the reasons that I'm willing to push myself and stretch myself and do stuff like that, but within reason. Hence the plans with having a more relaxed schedule, where we've got two different types of structures. It does seem like we've made some progress with our more formal structure, which is nice. One of our volunteers stated that they're going to be helping get subject matter, and resources for us. And I think even on low energy days or high pain days, that's something that can go a long way towards helping make sure that what we're doing here is engaging and entertaining and useful. And, there's that, like I said, that value exchange from last time. And I do want to remind people how much overlap there is with alexithymia and being neurodivergent in pretty much any capacity. Alexithymia, for those who don't know and who I may be mispronouncing it, it's ALEXITHYMIA. Yeah. Anyway, it'll be easier if I type it. Alexithymia. Yeah, I think that's how it's typed. But it basically means that you aren't connected with your nervous system very efficiently. It's being having limited connections with your feelings, being numb, not knowing if you're angry or sad or hurt just sort of, I think the way most people might understand it is, bottling up your feelings, right? And that kind of stuff can get you in trouble with your personal health if you're not careful. It's very easy to ignore warning signs if you're not paying attention. And things like that can cause catastrophic long-term damage. Even if you're just focused on the stress aspect of it and you're ignoring, let me see something. I'm just getting a little paranoid by the levels being so low. I can't, it was so much louder last time. It's crazy. Okay, anyway, and if you let yourself deal with feeling the feelings, sometimes it makes it harder to do what you need to get done. But that's basically what the system is there for. Is the brain is very adaptable, and one of the ways we survive is it will switch off the signals to maintenance systems in your body and switch over to action. And so you'll end up, if you're under high stress situations a lot, you'll end up being one of those people who is referred to as an actor or a reactor and not an actor, as in, you aren't finding an easy time making a conscious decision to make the right move. You're just reacting emotionally to those moments. But a lot of times if you have alexithymia, you aren't aware that's what you're doing. And a lot of people like ADHD and autistic people can find themselves running into situations where they feel there's another freaking commercial. I need to get signed into my personal account where I have ad-free. I didn't think about that until just now. But yeah, so autistic people and ADHD people can often find themselves forced in a cycle of, I think, is it ADHD on the inside or how to ADHD, I think. That channel talked about like a Hulk smash method where, you'll find yourself using your willpower and your grit to force yourself to do something. And that's not sustainable. It's not healthy. And you pay for it in literal biological damage. Like one of the things that has like two pieces of key information that helped me frame dealing with my feelings a lot better were, one, that cortisol actually actively damages your cell's ability to reproduce by shortening the telomeres, the little end caps on the end of your DNA that make sure that they replicate properly. Like those telomeres, like if you imagine like a copy machine or a fax machine or something. Actually, a fax machine's the best. No, there's going to be different ages. But anyway, a printer, right? If you put a single sheet of paper in the printer knows where the beginning and the end of that page is generally and goes there. But if you cut a quarter of the page off, suddenly you're missing a lot of the information in that text. And actually, that's not a very good example because it's really the data's still there, but there's it's close enough. The issue is that the replication fails. And like crying is one of the only ways the body dumps cortisol. And it's like, oh no, okay, well shoot. If I want to just poison myself and let it stay in my body forever, then I can keep bottling up my feelings. But if I want to have any chance at having any kind of health, physical or mental, then gotta feel your feelings. And so, like today, for example, it's one of the reasons I'm saying I might have to cut the stream off short, because there's a few instances where, I'm just trying to get up out of bed, getting like a 8 out of 10 on the pain scale kind of stab in the gut. It's not a promising feeling. And one of the things adrenaline does, if you try to like Hulk smash your way through stuff, you're kind of taking advantage of that whole system of things. It really has an impact on your blood flow. Your body's goal is to make sure that you're able to, physically activate and run away or fight or do whatever you need to do to survive. You don't need to digest. You don't need to repair your cells. You don't need to do any other stuff. And so in a place where you're dealing with chronic pain or illnesses, you've really got to take a step back. I know it feels like it's unproductive. It feels like you're being lazy or disappointing people. It's really hard to deal with, but the thing is say you can force yourself to be 25 or 50% productive out of your guilt and shame. The longer you try to do that, one, usually you'll find that rate keeps going down, and two, you likely just end up burning out. But if you take a day or a half day, or take some time to recover, you can go back at 70, 80, 90% effectiveness and maintain that instead. And then after 2 or 3 days of being back, you're more productive, or you've gotten more done, or you're better off than you were if you just kept working 4 or 5 days, right? And so, knowing to make those kind of calculations to say, I'm not being lazy, I'm investing in my future productivity, I'm investing in my future capacity. Those are important things to keep in mind when dealing with things like chronic pain or chronic health issues. Especially, there's a lot of people who are dealing with doctors who are dismissing them, and they're being dismissed or treated as though their chronic pain issues are caused by some nerve issue or some psychosomatic issue, and not like an actual physical ailment, which made my brain go to a trauma place and made my dissociation kick in and forget why I was bringing it up. So to circle back around, then, it's one of the many reasons why so many ads. This is insane. I don't remember there being this many ads last time. It's like every 2 minutes. Okay. So, when you are dealing with being neurodivergent and having chronic pain, it's a double-edged sword, or not double-edged sword, it's a double whammy, which I don't even know if that phrase is going to make sense to anybody anymore. It's from an old game show, but it might be like the save icon, right? It's still a freaking floppy disk, even though almost nobody knows what a floppy disk anymore, or floppy disk is anymore. But yeah, so I wanted to say it's one of the reasons why it's helpful to donate to a group like ours, because one of the things that we do a lot with the group is really focus on helping people understand where their limits are, where their breaking point is, and establishing standards for paying attention to their own needs and self-care, because when you have, I mean, I'll stick with my own example just to simplify it. Like, the society as a whole, if you know, we're at the very least 1% of the population being autistic, and when, what is the phrase? You're only as strong as your weakest link, right? And so whichever groups in your society you end up neglecting or you end up mistreating, you are bound to experience the knock-on effects or the cascading of impacts of those decisions. And you know, one of the key ones is if you have somebody on the spectrum in your office or your home environment and they are pushed past their limit or past their breaking point, there's often extreme consequences, right? And there are things that can be easily avoided with just a modicum of intentional communication and providing alternative solutions. But due to so often being dismissed, minimized, or misunderstood, we're usually relegated to just dealing with it, or you know, you're overreacting, it doesn't really hurt, and you know, you don't know what you're feeling, and blah blah blah, which is what leads to alexithymia and other maladaptive coping strategies like temper tantrums and meltdowns and screaming and yelling and pushing and pulling and hitting and what have you, right? Like you'll find almost every behavior is coming from an unmet need or attempting to meet a need. And comfort is a big one that I think most of us are forced to ignore. And that can put you in a position where you don't realize that you're in nearly as much pain. Let me rephrase that. It puts you in a position where you don't realize that most people aren't in nearly as much pain as you are. And that can be really dangerous for your joints and ligaments and your GI tract. And the crazy thing is how much all of those things impact your ability to think clearly. If you are in pain, you're usually much less patient, much less kind, or gracious maybe is a better word for it. Like it's you don't have the luxury of the air conditioner in the house just stopped and it made the audio change completely and it threw my brain off. Yeah, I think we're going to keep today's stream to a 1 hour for sure. And then we'll have... Oh, yeah, that's something to bring up. So last stream we talked about how we are working on the back end to have more structured content and stuff like that. So it sounds like we're in arrangements to have that happen soon. There's no specific deadline or ETA, but it seems like it could be a relatively short turnaround time if I were to guess, which you shouldn't do. Like the freaking one agreement that I can never remember is don't make assumptions. Out of the 4 agreements, there's a book called The 4 Agreements that I find is very helpful in terms of realizing, you know, what is and isn't worth judging yourself for. It's always do your best, but recognize that your best is going to be different day to day. Don't take anything personally, meaning, you know, even if somebody says you suck at this thing and I'm a professional food critic and this food was terrible, like that's still their worldview and coming from them, it's not necessarily indicative of something that you should internalize. Don't always do your best. Oh yeah, don't make assumptions, and then be impeccable with your word. If you say you're going to do something, do it, or communicate that it's going to change. Don't tell people you're going to do something or you're planning to do something you have no intention of doing. At least not if you want to feel like you're a halfway decent person at the end of the day. Yeah, I've had some people who have struggled with that one in my life, and I have a habit of giving people the benefit of the doubt for quite a while. But we all learn and grow. That said, so the chronic pain stuff with neurodivergence in general, one of the big complications is the alexithymia, is the being raised to think being raised and taught that your feelings, what you're feeling in your body, is not actually what you're feeling. Everybody else somehow knows better what you're really feeling than you do, and you're just being extreme, and you're just being overreactive, and stuff like that. It sets up a bad precedence, and so really, what I want to do is bring attention to that for people on the spectrum to be able to think about later and talk about later with themselves or with other people about. They're the only ones who can know what's going on in their body, and the more that you're disconnected, the harder it is. But I don't know. It's I want to try to find a way to, I don't want to say create a central theme. The central theme is neurodivergence and chronic pain, but the through line is difficult. But again, that's one of the reasons I'm talking about it, because I am going through a lot, and it does make it harder to think. It does make it harder to plan. It does make it harder to process. This goes to kind of what I was talking about yesterday a little bit as well in the previous stream, which you can check out on YouTube. Was the value of some of the behind the scenes stuff. So this, I'm one of the ways that I live my life without regret is by trying to remember that every experience is a learning experience, and either it's something I'm going to learn from it, or maybe something else someone else can take from it. But I do value the position of, or I guess I do respect the position of being a role model in a lot of the environments I'm in, and so I'm turning that stuff off. I am hoping to show, okay, here's a good way to word this. One of the things that I tend to feel the most proud of for myself is how, as a male presenting person, I am more comfortable than most expressing the range of my feelings to other people in environments, regardless of other people's comfort level. I know I get judged for it a lot, especially in some work situations, or like when I'm running a meeting, not a support group meeting, a business meeting, because there are some people who think that's not appropriate in there, and I think that's bullshit. I think feelings are feelings, and they need to be felt, and this whole, oh, don't do that here, don't do that there, that's just like a narcissistic view of the world, like poisoning culture overall, kind of. It's the fact that we're so uncomfortable by other people's feelings that people have no idea how to deal with them, to the point where you're not allowed to express them, is a little screwed up, and I think the solution isn't not expressing them. right? I think the solution is expressing them in a healthy way, because nobody needs to help me, right? Like if I'm feeling my feelings, it's not like, oh, now everybody has an obligation to listen and like, no. Or maybe the listen part was the worst example to give, but like, you know, a lot of people will think they have to fix it, they have to do something about it, and that's just not the case, right? Like I can lament a situation and be fine with that, and there's no need to internalize the judgment of other people's discomfort with it anymore, because you know, now that I identify the crux of it, you know, it's not my responsibility if other people are uncomfortable with feelings, right? It's my responsibility because I have to live with myself for the rest of my life. So if I mean, I don't know if I go that far. I was going to say if everybody in the world has to be a little more uncomfortable for me to feel like a complete person, that's a small price to pay, but I don't think I can handle the trolley problem that well. Maybe one or two people, but that's one of the reasons that I, you know, having social circles that are well defined and having trust really clearly defined is important. There's people that I don't worry about that, or don't want to worry about that with. I'll just sort of keep out of the inner social circles, and then problem solved. Yeah. If there's anybody who decides to hop into the chat or pop in and wants to say anything, ask any questions, please do feel free. And actually, I'm thinking if you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and a fire extinguisher. Since we are a little light on viewers right now, one thing I noticed is that there's the text is missing from the bottom, so people can't necessarily tell what's going on. So what I'm gonna do is add a quick little sponsor banner. What the hell is that? Okay, so this is something that we can kind of work on together. So there's a lot of options here. There's a widget called a sponsor banner. Set up sponsor banner to be able to add, edit, remove, update, rotating sponsor logo. Oh, that is useful, but not quite what we're going for. So we do want to go with text then. Either text or image, but right now text is better because I can type it out very quickly and we'll be good there. Add as a new source, and we're going to call this bottom text because memes. Okay, so now pretty sure we don't have railway in here, do we? QRSY LMP, yeah, no, that's just the font I keep seeing on our website, so I was gonna go that. Go Arial Black. No, did they have? They don't, but Georgia will work. Okay. If Q and A, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Central. Whoa, that's way too big. Okay. I'm gonna stick this here. That is not a good place. Oh wait, actually, it can be, but we need a background. So we'll do background color. That could be good, maybe. What? Oh. Ooh, that's not good. that's bad. But it will work for now if I can actually select it to move it. And then also, I need to add in that our logo's missing, I just noticed. Stream info, yeah. Right source. Boop. There we go. Perfect. That bottom text is hideous, so we're going to change the font into something that's maybe a little less gross. What about this? It's better. Sure, that'll work for now. Alignment is going to be center. Center. Oh my goodness. Now we're going to resize it and have it just, wow. For whatever reason, it does not want to go one-to-one with resizing. Okay, something that might help is if I add spaces at the end of it. There we go. Perfect. I mean, not perfect per se, but better. Yeah. Okay. A little bit more. Baby steps. Behind the scenes. The real life progress. It did seem like it might be well, not. Actually, if it was important, I would have called twice. But I'm going to go ahead and let them know what was going on. Boop-a-doo-doo-doo. Okay. That's taking too long to text, and since I didn't call twice, it's definitely not an emergency, so I'm going to focus back on this. Ooh, no, I'm not. I'm going to feel my feelings and breathe deep and hope I... Nope, I did not bring my water. Yeah. All right. Oh, my goodness. So something that can help a lot when you're dealing with sudden high pain attacks is breathing. I'm not going to do the type of breathing just yet, but I'm going to mute the microphone so that I can do deep breathing, and I'm going to raise my hand and lower my hand to indicate, I guess, what my diaphragm is doing, kind of. No, I do it the opposite way. I go up to go in, down to go out, but it should help as a visual indicator for anybody who'd like to follow along and practice some deep breathing techniques that can help manage chronic pain. And see, just a little bit of something like that kind of at least help take the edge off for a minute. I don't know the exact reasons on why it helps. Maybe it's, it's probably not the exact reason, but I would not be surprised if it was not related to the feedback loop between pain and conscious awareness, which is the more you think about a pain, the more your nerve endings are wired to be hypersensitive to it, and the more they tend to stay hypersensitive to it. But a lot of times you can trick the nervous system to reset the, what's a good term for it? I don't want to say reset the connection, but yeah, for lack of a better term, reset the connection. It can dramatically reduce your awareness of pain. I think it's one of the reasons that like hallucinogens are being used a lot nowadays to help treat depression, because it's sort of like a mortal wound, and emotional pain and physical pain use the same wiring. And, maybe doing that reset button there helps reset that pain connection. That's one of the many ways that you can sort of get better at managing chronic pain. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, there's if you're fortunate enough to not have a terminal illness, or it's something that's basically curable or treatable or manageable, that's the key and primary thing, is do what works to manage it. But if you have been saddled with just a genetic luck bomb, then a lot of times it's about learning to cope and learning how to accept your reality and survive it. It's definitely easier said than done, and it's harder some days than it is others, but it's important to validate yourself, take yourself seriously, listen to your body, pay attention, and don't force yourself to needlessly suffer for other people's comfort or other people's pleasure. Unless, that's your kink litter, of course. But I don't particularly consider that stuff suffering if it's bringing you pleasure. So, but I know some people have a view of language where they're very particular with things, and so I want to try to cover all the bases. Something else to make sure of when you're dealing with chronic pain issues is make sure the people that are around you are informed. You don't want to be seen as the jerk or anything like that for not being able to show up when you want to. And like I was mentioning before, you can have difficulty with patience and compassion when you're in high pain levels. I mean, when I was working as basically running a surgical center for a while, that was kind of one of the things that was the hardest for the staff to get used to was, a lot of these people are in so much pain. They're dying, they're broken. Like, it was a neurosurgery clinic, so it was, you tend to have to be in pretty bad shape before you can get your head cut open and have a doctor scoop stuff out, which is, obviously a gross exaggeration of what she does. But, it's hard for people to be able to handle being around somebody who's that short-tempered and aggressive and all that stuff. But I mean, that's what happens when your needs aren't met. You start regressing further and further into those kind of places where it's fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. You need to survive. That's what your body's built for. It's what it tells you to do. It's what it fights for. And if you don't listen to it, it will take over for you. Like, there's a phrase that I used a lot before I really knew a lot about what was going on, that is, feel your feelings on your terms, or feel your feelings on their terms, right? The feelings is terms. And I think most people kind of have an intuitive understanding on what that means, but if you don't, it's referring to if you're able to connect to your body in a way to where you can tell what you're feeling. Like if you're feeling energetic, if you're feeling excited, if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling whatever, if you have that connection to it, you can feel those feelings in the moment. You can choose how to handle them and how to address them and how to get, whatever needs or wants addressed. If you ignore them and shut them down, shove them down into a deep part of your body, then sooner or later it's going to explode. Sooner or later it's going to come out somewhere, and you're going to, if you're not a narcissist or a sociopath or psychopath, then you're going to regret what happens afterwards. It's sorry, I had a flashback. There's one of the things that we're struggling with in the group is there's a person who keeps calling themselves an abuser, and it's bringing me to a place where I've it's either they're saying that because they've been traumatized and abused and have been taught to believe that like it's your fault that you're like this, or they're actually an abuser, and which case that's a difficult situation to be in for me as the facilitator, because it either means they can't be helped by us and I have to kick them out, or they're practically brainwashed, which means I won't be able to help them. I mean, it'll be good that they have a place where they can exist and stuff, but if they're brainwashed, it's only going to be a matter of time before they're going to get separated again. Maybe this will be something that they'll be able to draw from later as another stage in their growth and development, but there's that part that wants to help everyone, and then there's that reality that says you can't. Like that was one of the things that we learned early on with the group was if you try to help everybody, you end up hurting way more people, because I think the way I described it before was like, if you run a farm, you're a bleeding heart and you want to save all the animals, you have to be very particular about that, right? Like you can't just be like, oh, well, look at all these chickens over here. Oh, those coyotes sure are hungry. It would be unethical to not let them, murder all the chickens. Or a better example would be cats, because, with a coyote, you might believe that at least they would eat it. There's the circle of life thing. Let's go with cats and just say that they're just going to go kill them and leave just for fun, right? Like, that's... I feel like if I cared about my chickens, then I would want to make sure that the coyotes don't, or cats don't get in there, right? Give them a chance to be nice, but as soon as... I don't know. It's difficult. It's another one of those things that it's why we need as many volunteers and as much community support as we can get, because these aren't the kind of things that should be unilateral decisions. These are people's support structures, the safety. They're I can't have eyes everywhere. I can't do everything all at once. And there's a cost to being wrong, but there's also a risk to not making those choices. So it's one of the many reasons that we're trying to do this fundraiser and trying to showcase that we're here to be consistent and to help. Man, it's just very hard to think clearly. I'm very happy that we only have about 5 minutes left for today's. I love how I put a thing on the screen that says it's until 1:11, even though I knew when I was writing that I wasn't going to do that today. But it's still progress. I wonder what happens if I type here. Yes. Oh, I have to sign in. Okay. That's weird. you'd figure it would automatically sign into this tool because the tool forced me to sign into Twitch to sign into it. But technology is fun, so we won't worry about that. Oh, captions to my videos. Oh, there's a way to do live subtitles? No, that's not live subtitles. Well, that's goofy. Okay, my bad. I got distracted. Another one of those reasons why managing your pain is important is it has a very, very severe effect on your ability to focus. Because you're either going to be focusing on the pain or trying not to focus on the pain, and so you'll get distracted and go to something else, and it's not easy. What are other good things to bring up when it comes to managing chronic pain when you're neurodiverse? Oh, that's actually, I'm sorry, I was thinking that might be a better way to title these videos is with the subject matter that we're going over. Actually, what does this button do? Start replay buffer. Record. Notification. Okay. So there's no way for me to change the stream name while streaming in Streamlabs, the tool I'm using, at least not easily. So, chronic pain and neurodivergence. Oh, yeah, that's one of the other things. Okay, so if you're autistic and you have chronic pain, I weep for you because doctors tend to not believe you. Like, maybe a part of it's the dissociation that a lot of us learn as a way to cope with strong feelings in our childhood. Maybe a part of it's the alexithymia and that we're disconnected from it. But man, if I don't hear stories constantly in the group about how they're telling the doctor they're at like a 7 out of 10 on the pain scale and the doctor doesn't believe them. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we're not expressing it in the same level of intensity, verbally, visually, or externally, as they would expect it to be presented. And, it sucks that they're maybe not trained to recognize that a lot of us have to put on a brave face. It's called masking, right? So, and especially with childhood doctor experiments, most of us are probably taught pretty early on that, nobody in that room cares about your suffering. And then maybe that's hard to break out of as an adult. Easier said than done, at least, even if you've worked in the medical industry. But yeah, so with that in mind, one of the things that I find important and a suggestion that I make a lot for people who are dealing with any kind of chronic illness or trying to get a diagnosis even for something is have somebody come with you, just a second person in the room. They're a lot less likely to think that you're being hyperbolic or making it up or don't know what's going on. If there's somebody in there who could say, no, that's definitely true. I've seen that. I've seen them have it. Like, no, trust me. This is really a 7 out of 10 for them. Like, if it gets any worse, they melt down and it gets bad. Like somebody who can advocate for you, because there's even an instance where, oh, my brain. It was such a good thought too. It wasn't just my brain, that was my gut again. But yeah, this is an example of me trying to feel my feelings and not detach from them, but it is just as easy for me to just snap out of it and pretend like nothing is wrong. But again, part of the point here is to be a role model, not to be a hero. Oh my goodness, that sucks. Okay. Ooh, okay. Moving didn't help very much either. Okay, so we have... Oh, wow, that was a lot longer than I thought it was. pain attack. I literally looked at it and it had just become, well, that's frustrating. But anyway, so we are hitting the 1 hour mark, and at the very least, I'm going to go ahead and go on that 10-minute break that we have planned. We'll see if it might last a little bit longer. If it does, I'll say something in the chat. I'll put something on screen to reflect that, but we'll make an attempt to go for the full 2 hours, just to see. So we'll give it a shot.
Step back on scoop. Next time, rookie.
So breathe. I am here, but I am in the throes of an extreme pain moment, and yeah, we're gonna go ahead and call the stream now at an hour.
We have a
And I
special
thank you all for
guest,
joining,
Super Stara.
and we hope to see you tomorrow.
A beat that the Drift Queen can drift to.
11:11
minutes.
I'm ready.
to 1:11. Where we
Got
can.
the 808 down. Let's drop a kick in. Gotta have a kick. I
Oof,
like those
yeah.
sticks.
That's about all I got. Thank you guys. Love you, and remember to neuro unify.